passed away in '44, and he had most of the older musicians. Don DiGiacomo's dad, Claudio Orsi, the guy that owns Orsi Bakery. I think Claudio played trumpet too. So that era of guys, they were too old to be playing and didn't want to march anyhow. So my dad had the guys, and he would recruit the Metaganis, Americans. So when he went to Tech, and he's playing with the musicians from there, so then you'll see there's a lot of Americans in there. It says Italian-American band, and so he does have a lot of Americans in there. And we didn't think nothing of it. Then it was around 30, 32, 33, then Lentini got their Patriots 8, got their arch, the float, and Sandapio. So we had our own up on 17th Street. So it was just natural. We played in June. This one wasn't until July, so they worked out real good. Cosentino was there till World War I, and then after that, then there was just my dad's band.
Okay. So did your family speak Italian at home or English?
Well, when I was young, my dad would always talk to my mom in Italian. And of course, your nana and nana, they never knew English. They didn't know nothing about English. And so I said, Mom, you call Nana? Because she had a shower in her basement. So when we're outside sweating 100 degrees, I go up to Nana's down the alley. I go down and take a shower. So now I'm starting to get 10, 11, 12, and I love this little Metagani girl that I go to grade school with. So I went and I bought this little earrings and necklace and everything. I would call her up and I says, hey, Marilyn, if you go outside or look on this windowsill, there's something for you. She says, what? And I said, that's okay, there's something for you. So she called me back. She said, Vince, go outside and that gift is there. My dad don't want me to be dating no Italians. So that was it. I did not want to speak Italian, didn't want nothing to do with the Italians. So my brother, my sisters, they would speak the Italian. And Italian lesson aside, that means leave me alone. And I didn't want to speak Italian. But then my brother got drafted and he did Fort Riley down in 54. We went down there and then he had to go to Germany. So he was down here at the train depot. We sent him off. My dad was crying. So he went over to Germany, and then while he was over there, then we had a relation in Lentini and Carlentini. So while he was in Germany, then he went overseas to see our relation. But they speak a little different dialect. The Italians speak different dialect than the Sicilians. The people from this province speak different dialects than you do. I remember one time, we're down here, we played the San Lucia Festival, we're on break. Jimmy Otero, his dad, is a Mexican, he's sitting there talking Mexican, and my dad's sitting here talking Italian, and I said, how the hell do you two understand what the heck you're saying? And they said, it's damn near the same thing. They call 5 cinco, we call it shingle. He said, it's damn near the same thing, you know. So I guess that's how all the Italians and the Mexicans, they just never have any problems. We kid each other a lot, and we tell the Mexicans, hey, you got to copy our flag, the green, you know, white and red. I said, now you want to be different, so you put a chicken on your flag just to be different. And they get a little riled behind that one, saying that eagle is a chicken. So, but yeah, it's been a good life, and I hope somebody remembers all the work that he did, trying to, he learned the music, he learned how to direct the music. He started the Columbus Day Parade here in Omaha, and he started the Columbus Day Observance Corporation and everything, so he was into music. And when we play, there's really no dynamics. The guys start blowing and they're right here. With my dad, you don't do that. You read the music. When it says for you to play soft, you play soft. We're getting ready, okay, let's go. And the whole band, there was a lot of dynamics when my dad led the band. He wanted you to play what the music told you to play. And we always had rehearsals all the time. Even when we're playing the same songs, we still had rehearsals just to make sure we're all on the same page, you know? So, and the band was always basically 45-piece band. And I don't think we ever had less than 35 guys, because we always had a big group. And it was a lot of fun. I loved to play the drums for my brother, and then when I seen he's getting all the girls, I know I want to play drums now, so I started playing the drums, and I just didn't want his job directing the band, because he had 2 suitcases full with folders and music, and every Sunday we were out there making sure everybody had the lineup. So when you open up the folder, there's number 1, you're all ready to go. Everybody get in tune, let's get in tune, and we're all ready to go. So it was a lot of fun.
Let me just check my questions again.
Go through some of the papers.
Yeah. So, this is a program?
Yeah, this was a program, like I said, we always played everywhere. And there's actually was 2 Sokol halls. Actually, there was 3 of them. But down here, there's the Sokol Hall right at 13th and Martha, but up north, just south of Pacific, on the east side of the street, was another Sokol Hall building. And that's where we would practice, and parade coming up. Okay, the guys would get down there, and the Sokol Hall was no bigger than this, and 45 guys in a line. You start marching from there, you're here in 2 minutes, and we would practice marching down there at the Sokol Hall. And this was a concert that he put on in 47 down there, and this is North Sokol Hall there. So, and this is right after World War II. Our San Lucia, our first festival, was August 4th, 1946. And you can see all the people down there. And I think it's got the Italian band down there. And so my dad's band, he called it the Italian American band, because we had a lot of Americans in there too. And that was our first one after World War II. So you got him as a kid marching the guys down to the train depot for World War I, and then here he's where's that one? Oh, there it is. in 1926, he was in the Navy Reserve, and then we started the festival, and then this is after World War II. They're going again. So they took a break while the war was going on, but they got it going again. So
you talked about you have sisters. Were they involved in the music?
no, the only ones involved in the music was me and my brother. Why he didn't come down and play for this, I don't know. Oh, this was 54. Heck, he was in Germany at that time. But that's 63, but he was with me whenever we played the parades downtown. There was always him and I, because we had 4 across, and we had the cymbals and the bass drum, and that took up the line. So we kind of covered from 19-something when he came over here. Oh, this is 55. They always give the free band concerts and everything, and as you see, it says Sokol Auditorium, but here it's the other Sokol Auditorium. This is the one on 13th and Martha. So this is Sunday, November 55, and then afterwards, Dave Husky used to have an orchestra. Back in the 50s, everybody had 10, 12, 14-piece orchestras. They always played everywhere. So my dad would give the concert, and then Dave Husky would play, and everybody would dance around the hall and everything, because it's a big, giant hall. And the bandstand's big, it can hold a lot of people. So there was always music all the time, and we loved it.
I like that it says everybody welcome.
Yeah, we didn't care. You like music? Come on in and sit down. You know, you like music? Come to this park. We'll be playing at noon, 1 o'clock, whatever. And they actually used to advertise in the newspaper, this coming Sunday, Vincent Emmanuel's concert band is going to be playing at this park. And then they used to be having they had a thing for the little kids. It was a wagon deal. Do you remember? I doubt if you kids remember. Show wagon, I think that's what it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would go to like Elmwood Park or Park downtown. We would give our concert, and they would have like a thing called the show wagon. All the younger kids, they would come up one by one and do their act and everything. So everybody was involved. Everybody was involved.
Do you have any more funny stories about your dad? Like talking about this story when he was telling you to quiet down.
Yeah.
And the ice.
Yeah. The ice and everything. Well, the only thing, people think that the snow that we get now, oh my God, we got 4 inches of snow. We never thought of snow because we got it all winter long. When we were young, my dad would go out there, we have a blizzard, my dad would get the jack out of the back of the old 39 Chevy, I would jack up the car, and I'd be down there putting chains on the car. And when we got the chains on the car, we picked up a couple of more kids. He'd go around the neighborhood and pick up a couple of more kids. And you had to go to school. There was no snow day. People would laugh at you from back in the 50s, snow day. We never heard of such a thing. You went to school 5 days a week until they knocked off for their summer vacation. And it was just something that you never thought of. You just went and you just did it. So, I remember jacking up the car, helping them put the chains on, and we're going to school, you just slipping and sliding, picking up the other kids, and that's just something that we had to do. And like I told you, we made wine every year. We'd make about 2 50-gallon barrels, about 100 gallons of wine.
Wow.
And so we would go to the orchards and you could get a bushel of grapes for $1.50. That's a heaping bushel of grapes for $1.50 if you pick them. If you want me to pick them, it costs $2. So we let them pick the grapes for $2. And it took an average of 17 bushels for a 50-gallon barrel. So we had a lot of bushels of grapes. And I used to be the cranker. I'd have the barrels, the fermenting barrels that we called them. They would be there, and we had this big funnel box with a crank on it. My dad would get the bushels and he would dump them into the box, and I'd turn the handle and grind the grapes. We got all the grapes ground, and then we would just put a cloth over the top of the barrels. And every day you would have to go out there and you dip down in them grapes and you would stir them up. And every day them grapes would get a little riper. Boy, you talk about smelling something, it'd knock your eyes out. So the crank broke. So what are you going to do with the grapes? We got to get them all mashed up and into the barrels. So we didn't have washing machines, we had wash tubs. We had one washing machine that had the wringer thing, and you put it in here, and then you would switch the wringer to that one, and you switch the wringer to this one, so you're rinsing the clothes out. So these other two, we just grabbed, they're the wash tubs. We grabbed the wash tubs, we brought them out. My dad would fill it up, and us kids, just like you've seen in the movies, we would roll up our pants sleeve. Hey, go wash your feet first. You're not stepping on these grapes. The grapes were filthy anyhow, you know. And so he made us go wash our feet, and we would come outside, and then we would go around. I think it was Lucy Ricardo, and I Love Lucy. She was stomping the grapes one time. And we had to stomp the grapes until he would reach down, okay, and then we would get the thing and we would pour it into the barrel, you know. So it was just something that we do. And when we were kids, we always went crawdad hunting. We had a couple of little ponds and the crawdads go where the stagnant water is. And so we would get a lath that was in the walls, cut a piece about like this and put a string on it and tie the liver on it. And you would walk out in the lagoon and put them all through the lagoons. And then by the time you get done, you go back and you start over again, you pick it up, hey, here they are, and you shake them off. So now you get the wash tub out again and you rinse them all out. And then you put them in the pot, and my mom would cook them, and they'd be crying and everything like that. She didn't like cooking the crawdads, but we didn't think nothing of it. We thought that was just part of life, you know. So there were just a lot of things that we did that today's kids don't even have a chance to do, and it's just a shame. I wish they could experience all of these traditions like we used to have down here, because just like I said, you may not be home, but the neighbors are watching you, so don't be getting in trouble. And Mrs. Vaccaro, old Italian lady, her husband died years ago. She lived down the alley from us. And right next door was the Calabrese family, they had an apple tree and a pear tree. All the Italians all had fruit trees. And so we go knock on the door. Can we go up the tree and get some apples? You be careful. Us kids always carried a salt shaker in our pockets. And we would climb up the tree and we would sit up there on the limbs and we would pick at apples and we put the salt because they're green apples. And we would sit there and eat green apples until we got a stomach ache, and I got enough. So we would come down. But Mrs. Vaccaro, she had peach trees. Her peaches looked like softballs. They were so big. And of course, she was a workaholic, so she's always out in the yard. Every Italian always had a garden. All the time. Every Italian family up and down the block had gardens in the backyard. Mrs. Vaccaro out here yet? Hey, she's not out here. Let's go. We would jump over the fence and climb up her peach tree, and we'd be up there grabbing and throwing peaches down at each other. She'd come outside, she'd see us through the window or something. You son of a bitch, get out of there. And we'd jump and run and everything. She knew who you were, because everybody knows you in the neighborhood. She'd be on the phone call with my mom, and boy, get another ass whipping. You can't be stealing from people. That's no good. That's no good. That's why I say, you may not be home, but people are watching you. They watch what you do. And you're lucky if they don't give you your spanking, because you know you're going to get one when you get home. So, yeah, my dad had a heck of a life. And he was a heck of a, I never even thought about him being the director of the band, you know. And he's always up there and directing and everything. And when they didn't ask him to leave, they just didn't say, we don't want you no more. But that broke his heart. But then they moved the festival down to the baseball park. And we was down there for the festival. And I said, hey, there's my dad going up there. He's going to direct the band. He went up and he directed 1-2 songs. I don't know. They had to help him up the steps. But once he got up there, he was in his elements. You ready? Oh. And it sounded like a complete different band, because he would raise yours when you're supposed to get loud. I let you play soft when you get soft. So he brought the dynamics of what the song was supposed to be like. And it was just like 2 different bands. How the hell can that be? Just one person directing the band can make it sound different. I didn't understand that, you know. But that's my dad. He loved the music. That was his life.
So you said that he never learned English.
Oh, my dad?
Yeah.
Oh, my dad, he learned English.
Oh, okay.
He didn't care to speak English.
Okay.
Because when you come down here, this is the Sons of Italy in 54, they don't speak English. It was all Italian. And my God, when these guys are going to stop this talking, I got something I got to understand. So Italians, when they talked to the Italians back in the 50s, they didn't talk American. They talked Italian and everything. It didn't start speaking American until around the 60s. And then the older Italians started dropping off and everything like that. And so started getting new eras, different people and everything.
So when you talked to the band, the Italian-American band that had Americans, did he speak Italian to them?
Oh, no, that. When he had this band here in 54, it was half Italians and half Madagascars and everything. So everything was all American, so we all understood. and this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna do it. You ready? Okay. But yeah, when he's talking to you personally, that's a different story. Now he'll be talking Italian to you. But when he's talking to the band and everything, he always spoke English, so I knew what to do and when to do it, and we were ready to go. My brother used to count on the breaks. We always had the breaks, 12-bar breaks, 16-bar, and everything like that. And he turned to me and he says, "What's the count?" And I said, 32, 2, 34, 2. My brother, he'd sit there on the breaks and he'd just be looking around and ask me, "What's the count?" for the break that we would have. But I tried to play it good. And when I was young, I was full of piss and vinegar, and we went 100 miles an hour. Even today, we played a couple of songs for Hanna Lucia this past year, and when the music starts, and I know where it's going to go, and I just something builds up inside me, and then sticks start flying, and everything, but I run out of gas now. But even when we play them songs, I don't care. When it comes to that one part, and I know we're going to go, my hands are going, and so I just can't stop myself. My wife says, "Why don't you relax? You know, you've been doing this since you was a little kid." I says, "I know, but it's just something about the music. It just gets me. I know it's supposed to be the loud part. I know this is the break. I know I'm supposed to come in, and everybody's supposed to blare on this section over here." And I just automatically do it. Even without looking at the music, I know these songs I played so long. But now I'm forgetting the songs, how they go, so I'd ask the guy, "Give me the first 4 bars, how's it go?" As soon as I hear the first 4 bars, okay, we're good. We start playing. So, they got it. Dominic's got a good crew and everything. And I like playing with the band.
You were so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just enjoy, you know.
When we had the festivals right down here, even at on 17th Street, when we had Sandapio, the band would get at 17th and Clark, where the arch is, and we would get in a big circle. However many there was, that's how big the circle was. And then when we get down here, Santa Lucia, right at 6th of Pierce, the band would come down and get in a big circle. And we'd always play this song, that march, a polka, this, that, and everything. Come on out here and play it. When I was young, that's all he had, "Come on out here." And so I'd get in the middle of the circle, and then I would just go nuts for about 5 minutes, going crazy, you know, and I used to love it. But, and I did it a couple of times with Don's, when we would march from here all the way down and everything. I did it a couple of times there, but I'm just getting too old to show off too long. So, we're all aging.
Yeah.
But if there's a story here about a guy as a little kid living in Lentini, where the band played every Sunday, coming to America, and they could only afford him and his dad to come, and then he sees, hey, he's going to form a band. Go ask him if I could play. And he got into playing, and like I said, back in that era, they taught him different how to read the music. So he became a musician. And then he just started directing, and by the time he was in high school, he took the Italians from here, the Americans from Commerce High back then, and formed his own band, and he's been going ever since.
Did you go through everything on your sheet that you want to talk about? Did you look at that, or?
I never paid much attention to it because I think everything here is what we talked about yesterday and what we talked about today too. And I made two of those. One for you to take with you, and I didn't know if you was gonna take any of these.
I will.
Did we cover everything in there?
It looks like, I don't know if you, so this church across the street, did you go there when you were younger?
Well, this church was moved from downtown back in the early days, and it was actually called St. Philomena. They didn't change this until, I'm not sure if it was around 57 to 60. All of a sudden they figure you're not a saint, so they're going to change the name, and they changed the name to St. Francis Cabrini. So, yeah, most of the Italian, they built the school, I know, in 57. And that's the picture over there for the festival in 57. They just built that school here. And all the Italians went there, and in reading the newspaper, my dad went to Lincoln School over there on 11th Street, and train school down here, and there was another school that he had to go to. So he was getting pulled back and forth. And that's how he ended up being 21 in high school when you're normally 17, 18, something like that, you know. Because they came over here, and too old to get in grade school, but that's where they started. And he was just a big kid in this grade school, that grade school, and everything. So
I was going to say, you talk a little bit about most Italians are religious. So I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
well, most Italian, the guys, when you go to school, when you get to be in a certain grade, you have to become an altar boy. The girls, when they become a certain age, they had to go up into the choir loft. So all the girls were up singing, and all the boys, we would rotate being altar boys and everything. And we lived about 3 blocks from Holy Family. My dad, only time he was at church was when somebody died or somebody getting married. Other than that, you never seen him at church. And my mom, she had arthritis so bad she was humpbacked north of 17th and Nicholas all the way over to the church. And then, of course, during Lent, the altar boys had to be there to do the Stations of the Cross and everything. So the girls went up in the choir loft, and the boys went to serve the Mass and everything. And all of the women, they came all the time. All the women always came to church all the time. Sunday, you got to go to church. And that was just the way it was with the Italians. You got to go to church. You know, God ain't going to let you up there unless you're good and everything. So go to church. So most of us were all the boys when we were young. And then, of course, they try and convert you. How'd you like to be a priest? I like that girl too much to be going into that celibacy stuff, you know. So, and then, like I said, the people from here, Carlentini people, they would come up north Omaha, and they'd attend our church, and we would bring the saint out of church. And that is a church, because you had like about 12 steps to get to the doors of the church that you had to go up, and then you had to go this way where you went up another 15, 17 steps. So they had to carry Sandafu from the front of the church to the back of the church down 17 steps, and then outside, down another 15, 16 steps to the float, and then put him up on the float. So they were dedicated people. They had to go. And so the people from Carlentini would come up for Sandapio, and the people from Lentini would come down here for Santa Lucia. And like I said, the Santa Lucia women, there was always at least 30 or 40 women that were in the group. They wore green dresses, long green dresses. And the women from Sandapio, they wore the purple dresses. So when you see them in the street, you know she's from Santa Lucia, she's from Sandapio, and then they had the groups following and carrying the candles and the banners and things like that. So everybody was involved, and they take the saint very seriously. Even though we don't have Sandapio anymore, all the Italian people really take the religion seriously.
Do you guys have any questions or?
What about some stories of you and your brother?
You played with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're a musician. Aside from your dad, you did all right yourself. You know?
Well, when I was young, I started with the little drum, and when the old man, he would get the groups together, we had dances of Holy Family, we had dances of Sandapio Hall, and I would play the drums. So by the time I was a teenager, I'd sneak my brother's drums, I'd sneak them out of his bedroom, and I'd set them up in the living room, and I'd beaten the hell out of them, and I drove my mom deaf, I think, because she was in the kitchen over there, and I could go a long time playing on them drums because I was young and I didn't care. And so he gave me his first trap set. And like I said, there was dance bands that played everywhere. There were so many places around here. They had the music box. They had the Paxton Hotel. Dave Moorhead, I think, or something like that, was the guy that had that band. They had Peony Park. Just around here, they had so many. But the big bands, they would go to Missouri Valley, Wahoo, Lincoln, Fremont, and they was always playing every weekend. And so when I got big enough that I could play a whole trap set and everything, when the big bands, when their drummer was sick or couldn't make it, they'd call my dad, "Hey, what's your boy doing? If we come and pick him up, will he come over here?" That's when we were going out of town. Or how about bringing your kid over such and such? And so as a teenager, I was like 14 years old, and I had a trap set, and I'm going playing with these big bands. These guys are in suits, and there's 12, 15 guys sitting up there, standing up, singing and everything, and it was a lot of fun. It really was, because you see all these old guys and what they're doing, and the people out there. Back in the 50s, people danced. In the 40s, they danced. And for some reason, I think they went counterclockwise. When they're dancing, they're moving, and they're going around the hall counterclockwise. I don't know what happened to the people that they lost that dancing, because everybody danced back in the 40s and the 50s. And you see, you go out to like Anthony's, and they got an 18-piece orchestra on Monday nights, and my wife and I used to love to go out there. But them people, they don't even dance. I mean, they dance like we did when I was a teenager. We danced right here in place. That's all we danced. And people nowadays, you look at them movies and people are dancing. I said, look at that. And whoever directed this ought to be ashamed of themselves, because all they do is rock. They don't know how to waltz or anything. You know, it just, people were different from the 50s back. And you see the soldiers coming back, and you see them doing that bebop, and they're dancing, spinning them girls around. And they got a baseball movie called League of Their Own. And Gina Davis is in it, and Madonna. And they're out dancing, the big band is playing, and it's while World War II is going on. And they're spinning all around that dance floor, and they're throwing her out and bringing her back, and she jumps over, and she's with another guy and flipping her over her head. That's what dancing is about, not just you and I just rocking back and forth in one spot. I don't know why they give it up, because they used to have, they actually had dance studios here. Arthur Murray get you dancing in a hurry. And you used to go there and you learn how to dance. I remember my brother going to dancing, and what are you doing? Well, I'm learning how to do the mambo and stuff. I got these steps I got to learn how to do, you know. So he'd be coming home, he'd practicing his dancing, and all the Italian guys, they went out all the time. And so when I was young, I hear the knock at the door, I hear Subby Anzaldo, my brother, Ricky Lucchino, they'd all come in. Hi, Mom, how you doing? And everything. They all got top coats on and everything. Where you guys going? Well, we're going to a dance. Oh, okay. Out they go. Every weekend, they go out and dance somewhere. And they dance, too. They didn't just sit down and listen to the music. They got up and they danced. So it was really fun. I'm just sorry that the kids your age can't see what we used to go through and how much fun it actually is. You know, I guess it's a different era, because when I started dancing, we had the jitterbug, the chicken, the limbo, the moshi pro. There was a ton of dances, the stroll, the bop. We had all of these different dances that we would do. What do you want to do? Well, let's do this. So we go out on the floor, and away we went. And we went to a car show, Western Nebraska. Us old car guys. And we all cruised out to the car show, and there was a bunch of us, guys, wives, and everything. And they started playing this song, and I can't remember what it was. And I says, hey, Eddie, get your wife, let's go out on the floor. We went out on the floor, and we was doing, not the stroll, the other one where they would flip around and everything like that. We're out there dancing, and everybody's looking at us, and there's just four of us out there dancing. And we get home from the car show, and the guy calls up on the phone. He says, is this the guy that was at the car show at such and such city? I said, well, I was there. What about it? Well, were you the people that were dancing? I said, yeah. Well, if we pay your way down to Bellsville, Kansas, will you people come down and dance for us? What do you mean come down and dance? We were just out there dancing and having fun. You guys don't do that for money? No, we don't do it for money. We do it to have fun. They wanted to pay us to come down to Belleville, Kansas, just to get out and dance. I mean, it just, but the girls, we had the girls back in the 50s, the girls would wear a guy's shirt, white shirt. They would roll up the cuffs. And the girls had white socks that were rolled down. So they had big rolls around their ankle, and then they would push them just below their ankles. They would wear loafers, penny loafers, with these big socks around them. So all of the girls out at the car show, they all had white socks, penny loafers, and wearing your husband's white shirt and everything. So we all looked, you know, we all looked alike. The girls did anyhow. And then we would all get up and dance and everything. And it was a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'm just sorry for you kids today. There's just none of this to keep you kids with us. All the dances are gone.
Hanna had played at the Eagles Club. Have you ever been there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she played there every Friday, Saturday night, a couple times a month at least. So,
Which one?
He is, I think, 24? It's like...
There was one on 23rd and N.
no, the one downtown.
Up
on
on Douglas, wasn't it?
Yeah, Farnham, Douglas, Hardy, right around there.
Yeah, the southeast corner, I think it is,
Eagles.
upstairs, is the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So her band from UNO plays there every other couple of Friday nights.
It's a few times a semester.
Oh, you're
Okay,
kidding.
like once a month, yeah.
Well, Nancy D. Augusta, she told me about that Eagles having a band, and I said, well, give me a call and we'll go up there, you know. And, but she never has called, and the Eagles from South Omaha on 23rd Street, they closed down and they sold the business off. So all of those clubs, and then they always had a band over there north of Dodge on around 76, VFW or something like that. They always had a band all the time. And I mean, you can go out there, if you got there at 9 o'clock, you were shit out of luck because you were not getting in there. Mm-hmm. That place was just jammed. And now they start the music around, I don't know, 5, 6 o'clock or something, and they go till 9 or 10 o'clock, and then they're done. You know, so it's just a different era, a different thing, and people are changing what they want, what they like. But I tell the kids and the grandkids, I'm sorry that you weren't born in the 40s and 50s, because that was a time we didn't have nothing, but we didn't miss nothing either. We were one of the last families to even get a TV in the neighborhood. Everybody else in the neighborhood, folks got TV, you know, and it was one of them round things. And yeah, my folks got TV. Well, all we had was a radio. We had a big radio that stood about this high, and you turned the knob and you listened to the Lone Ranger and the Fat Man, and he weighs in on the scale, it tips the scale. I just remember it was a weird detective show, the Fat Man. So I think we about covered everything, didn't we? Now you say you're going to edit this thing?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
There's not too much to edit. You told a lot of great stories. I mean, it's up to you, but there's a lot of good stuff there. So there's not too
Well,
much
just
to
so she gets what she needs
yeah,
for
yeah,
school.
we'll put it on the your program. So thank you so much, Vince, and thank you for all these stories and
Jesus Christ.
taking
I sit here and talk so long. I called my brother. I told him what we talked about, and I says, do you want to come down? We'll go up to Sons of Italy. I said, we're going to come in at 4. I said, we ought to be done by about 4:20, 4:25. And he says, well, you've already said everything. He said, you just go. and it's 20 minutes to 6, and I've been the only one talking.
Can you tell, what was your family? How many brothers, sisters? How big a family did you have?
Was my older brother, a sister 1 year older than me, she just passed away, and me, and then my baby sister. When I was young, I made my own shoe shine kit because we didn't have no, Mom, give me a quarter, give me a dime. There was none of that. You want some money? Go out there and work for it. So I made my own shoe shine kit when I was probably 10, 11 years old, and I used to go to the bars and bug the people. The bars used to be full all the time. And hey, you want to shine? 10 cents. I used to shine shoes for 10 cents. And that's how I made my money back then. And this one time, they used to have like a trick store downtown. Jokes, all kinds of stuff. And they had some stuff called sneezing powder. And so I grabbed one, it looked like a little packet, bigger than a little packet of sugar. I said, Josephine, come here. And I ripped the top off. She come over, she said, yeah. And I said, boom. I went like that. And she closed her eyes and she opened them up. And she had white circles here and her face was black. She looked like them guys, Al Jolson singing Mammy on TV. Achoo, achoo, achoo. What are you doing? Achoo. She had to run into the house and wash that sneezing powder off of her face. I used to torture my little sister. So I hope you can make something of the music and everything, and I hope this works out for you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
All right. I want to get some pictures of some of this stuff before you pack up.